Here on Fox. Meg?
Well, it was the third of at least 3 lavish junkets to posh resorts, funded in part on the taxpayers' dime. After the first 2 trips, insurance giant AIG promised it would stop spending taxpayer bailout money on these meetings. But then came its trip last week to this Phoenix resort, which cost over $300,000. Now, one top lawmaker is calling for AIG's CEO to resign. Tennessee Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn has called in the past for AIG to refund the taxpayers' money for these prior trips. So what does she think? She joins us now. Hi, Congresswoman.
Good morning, Megan. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. So I know that you have written in the past demanding that AIG refund the taxpayers, not for this trip, but they had taken one to Southern California and they had taken one over to England to hunt pheasants. And now, how do you feel about this third one?
It is so disappointing, and actually it's disgusting to know that they would conduct themselves in this way on the taxpayer money. And, you know, the thing is, they will say they have a plan for paying all of this back, and we have to look at the total numbers. The aggregate at this point is that AIG has $273 billion of taxpayer money, and that's from Treasury. If you add the actions of the Fed, you're up to over $300 billion for a company that was supposedly too big to fail. And I appreciate the fact that they have a lot of good people that are employed by AIG. But, Megan, the top management of this company is making some inappropriate and some bad decisions, and they need to change that and show that, fair or not, they're getting this money. And therefore, restoring the public trust is resting on their shoulders. And I think the CEO and the board and the top-level management of this company is held responsible for these actions.
You know, Congressman Elijah Cummings of Maryland had come out yesterday and said he thinks that the CEO, Edward Liddy, should resign. The guy's only been on the job a few weeks. He's the guy who replaced the old guy who got AIG into this mess. Do you believe that that's in order, his resignation?
You know, Megan, I think that the guys that made the mess need to clean it up. When your name is on the door, if there is something that occurs that you know is inappropriate, then it is up to you. It's a part of good corporate governance. And the taxpayers, the Treasury Secretary Paulson has said, okay, here you go. Here's this money. You need to make this situation right. And for them to, and I understand the importance of getting your product into the market. I started my career in sales and sales management. And, you know, we need to make certain that AIG and the individuals that are directing this company understand you don't go hold conferences at places like this. The American taxpayer is right to demand a change of action, and they are right to be disgusted with the actions that AIG is carrying forward, and they're right to demand them to step forward and make this, put this situation on the right track.
Let me give you their defense, because Liddy came out yesterday and said, this last one is not like the first 2. We'll cop to the first 2, but this one's different. He said 90% of it was paid by those who participate in it or the partners at the conference. AIG actually only had to pay $23,000 of that $343,000, and in defending that $23,000, he said, look, this is how we do business. You know, it behooves the taxpayers who have given us this money to see AIG thrive. We can't thrive unless we have these conferences where we educate people on our products and so on. Go ahead.
And being someone who has worked in sales and marketing all of my career, I say that's $23,000 too much. You go do it by conference call, you do it by WebEx or web meeting, you go to an airport conference hotel, and you have it, but you do not spend this kind of money. I think that it sends the wrong message, and there again, you can say fair or not, the perception is that they are out here conducting themselves in an inappropriate way, and they have to help restore the trust. Treasury has transferred to them $273 billion. The Fed has taken $42.5 billion in actions on their behalf. The American taxpayer now has an interest over $300 billion in making certain that AIG puts its house in order, and they're losing patience with the company when they see that type action.
Congresswoman, thank you so much for being here with your insights on it.
Megan, good to be with you.
Thank you.